Welcome to today's webinar, Landing Page Mastery, where I'm joined today by Nicholas from Earnworthy and Pedro from GetResponse. Now, Nicholas will tell us about how you can create a high converting landing page and what are some of the best practices for landing page creation. And then Pedro will unveil the latest feature of GetResponse, but I think is going to be super interesting for all of us because we have just launched an AI-powered landing page builder, and Pedro is going to show us how it works and what you can create with it. So I'm really excited about that. Now, the entire event is going to be about 1 hour long. First, we'll start with Nicolas' presentation, then with Pedro's demonstration, and at the end, we will have dedicated Q&A session where we will answer your questions from the chat. So if you have any questions during the webinar, just type in the chat and we'll try our best to answer all of them at the end. And as I mentioned before, we are recording the whole thing, so if you need to leave early, don't worry about that because we will send you the recording early next week. So without further ado, Nicholas, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Mate. Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day. Can everyone see the slides? Just making sure you can hear me. You can see the slides. Just type in the chat and let us know. And we'll get perfect. Yes, we got some yeses. I see we got people from all over the world. I also saw some folks from Florida. I saw Fort Lauderdale. I saw Cutler Bay. That's awesome. I'm in Port St. Lucie for those Floridians out there. Okay, so what are we going to be covering? We're going to be covering landing page best practices. And I want you to imagine if you were able to convert more of your website visitors into leads and customers without spending more money on ads and SEO, would that have a significant business impact on your business or on your company? Pretty much all of us are going to say, yes, that's what we want. We want more of that traffic that we are already getting to our website to convert into leads and customers. And that's where the power of landing pages comes in. And so I'm going to be sharing some best practices that I've accumulated over the past 8 years where I've been working on landing page optimization, and hopefully you'll walk away with some actionable insights. So three rules, I guess, I want to start with is I want to keep this fun. I want to invite your questions. I want to keep this lighthearted discussion. So you'll see some memes built into the presentation to kind of keep a lighter tone here, because I hate those boring webinars where it's very stuffy. And if it feels like it's getting off track, let me know in the comments, but hopefully we'll all have some fun here. The second thing is questions, I think, are the best way to get value out of attending a webinar. So feel free to ask your questions and we'll cover those at the end. And then the third thing is, like I said, I want you to walk away with some actionable takeaways. So this is usually the part of the webinar where the presenter will go into some detail about their background and how great they are and all that stuff. I'm going to skip all that. I'm not going to bore you with the long story. I'm just going to let you know that I am the founder of a small marketing agency called Earnworthy, which I started in 2015. Like I said, we specialize in landing page optimization, and we also do some work with marketing automation as well. But landing pages is really our strong point. And in terms of connecting with me, if you want to connect with me on social media, you can follow me at Nicholas the Marketer. That's Nicholas with an H, the Marketer on Threads. Hopefully we've got some Threads users in the house. I know that's like 1 week old, but I'm loving it. And also on TikTok and on YouTube. And you can also email me at nicholas@earnworthy.com. And I'll bring this slide back up at the end. But without further ado, let's go right into the main content. So I'm going to be sharing 3 secrets about landing page optimization. And I call them secrets because these are things that I don't think a lot of marketers are talking about when it comes to landing page, or maybe they skim over these points and they assume that everyone already knows them. So the first one is, it's going to be very important to understand the true purpose of a landing page. And so we want to start by defining what a landing page is, because there's so many different definitions out there. And this is probably the number one question I get when I'm doing these types of workshops and webinars. It's what is a landing page, and how is it different from my website or my homepage? And so what I did is I created my own definition of what a landing page is. And this is it. And we're going to break it down. So first, let me just read it to you, and then we'll break down certain parts of it, and it'll make more sense in a few minutes. So my definition of a landing page is that it's an independent, campaign-specific destination that persuades a member of a target audience to take one clearly defined action. So why don't we look at some certain words and phrases from that definition, and then it'll make more sense in a whole, in its entirety. So first of all, a landing page is independent, meaning that it lives independently from your website. Now, of course, you can have the best practices that we're going to be talking about implemented on your website if you want, but you can also have your landing pages exist completely separate from your website. In fact, we have a lot of clients that don't even have a traditional website in the sense that a lot of people think of when you think of a website. They have just a collection of independent landing pages. They run paid traffic from Google or Facebook to those pages, and it performs quite well for them. Now, I'm not recommending that you do that. I'm not recommending that you throw out your website, but I just want you to know that it's totally fine to have landing pages that are separate from your website. The second thing is that landing pages need to be campaign specific, meaning that they need to be tied to a specific campaign objective. And so you don't want to just build a landing page that tries to appeal to everyone at the same time. You want to tie it to very specific campaign goals. This is very important. This is one of the main differences between landing pages and your homepage. And then the third thing that I want to clarify within this definition is that your landing pages should have one clearly defined action for the user to take. You don't want to have them be able to do a bunch of different things like check out the blog and contact us and call us and fill out a form and buy a product and visit us on social media, because that's going to be distracting. And so you want to really hone down what it is that people can do so that there's one clearly defined action. So hopefully, now that I've broken down some of those phrases, everything else that we're going to be covering in this presentation will make a lot more sense. But just to recap, a landing page is an independent, campaign-specific destination that persuades a member of a target audience to take one clearly defined action. Hopefully, this is helpful so far. Let me know in the chat. I see we have some questions coming in. We're going to try to cover those questions at the end, so feel free to post your questions. But yeah, give me a thumbs up or a yes if this has been helpful so far. Perfect. I see yes, clear, good stuff so far. Awesome. Let's move right into some examples. So this is a company called HelloFresh that a lot of you may have heard about. They are in the meal prep or prepackaged food space. It's a pretty cool company. And so this is an example of one of their landing pages. And I want to point out a few things, and we're going to look at their homepage as well, and we're going to kind of compare the two. But before we do that, let's answer the question of how is a landing page different from a homepage with some real examples. Well, why don't we look at an example of a homepage and a landing page side by side. Now, this one is actually from Shopify, the e-commerce platform. And on the left, you can see this is the entire homepage, right? You can see it's a pretty long page. And then on the right is one of Shopify's landing pages. Now, the interesting thing here is that you're immediately going to realize that the homepage has a lot more content on it. There's a lot more things that you can do. And you kind of have to do that with a homepage because you don't know what people are there for. Do they want to visit your blog? Do they want to just log in because they're already a user? Or do they want to get started for the first time? Or do they want to learn more? So you need to have a lot of content. But the reason I wanted to show you this zoomed out side-by-side comparison is to show you a real example of a homepage and a landing page side by side from the same company to show you that typically, not always, but typically, a landing page is going to be much more concise, much more focused. It's going to have fewer things that people can do. So with that in mind, let's look at the HelloFresh example again. But this time, this is their homepage. Again, it's similar in design to the landing page that we looked at a few slides ago, but you'll notice there's more things that you can do here. So if we were to just look at the elements on this homepage that you can interact with. Those are the things that I've highlighted here in red. You could see in the top navigation, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different things you can click on. There's the button in the middle of the page. There's that little arrow under the button. There's a feedback element over to the side. There's a lot of things you can do just above the fold on the HelloFresh website. Now, if we were to look at the HelloFresh landing page, again, the same thing. If we were to highlight just the areas that you can engage with, there's only 2. And they pretty much do the same thing when you click on them. They just have a little bit different wording on the CTAs, on the calls to action, but they say order ASAP or claim your offer. So it's very targeted, very concise, and it doesn't let people do too many different things. So therefore, people are more likely to take that single desired action that the company wants them to take. Okay, so again, side by side, we have the homepage for HelloFresh. On the left, we have one of the landing pages on the right. And hopefully, combined with the definition that I had shared with you, we now all have a good understanding of the difference between a homepage and a landing page. So what's the takeaway from secret number 1? Well, it's that if you understand the true purpose of a landing page, the definition that I shared, then you can create an experience for your visitors that compels them to take action now. Because again, going back to that very first question that I started the webinar with, you want to get people to take action. You want to take the traffic that is already hitting your website, or you want to take the traffic that you're generating from email marketing or from paid ads or from SEO, and you want that to convert into leads and customers. So that's why we're here, and that's where landing pages can help you. Okay, let's go into secret number 2 of 3. The second thing I want to cover is that the highest converting landing pages answer 7 specific questions. And we're going to go into some of those questions. And out of all the things that I'll be sharing, I think this list of 7 questions that I'll be sharing is probably the most valuable. It's the thing you're going to want to write down. It's the thing that you're going to want to review, because it took many years to figure out what are the specific reasons why landing pages don't convert. And we've looked at thousands of different pages that we've optimized for clients over the last, since 2015. And we figured out there's really 7 different things that marketers and businesses do wrong. And so before I get to those questions, I just want to quickly explain how people typically understand landing pages and how landing page optimization is typically taught. If you were to go to Google and you were to search for elements of a landing page, or what's on a landing page, or what should I put on a landing page, and you look at the image results, you're going to see things like this. People typically break it down by elements. You should have a form, you should have a video, you should have a call to action, you should have a headline. And it's like this Lego block system of, oh, I just need to put all these different elements in the right order and I'll have a landing page and it'll work. And that's fine if you just want to be sort of just coasting on the surface level. But what I want to encourage everyone to do is to think about landing pages one level deeper. Don't think about the elements that go into a landing page. Think about what those elements are supposed to do for your visitor. And most importantly, think about what questions those elements are supposed to answer. And in my opinion, that's the better way. That's the way to really optimize a landing page, is to get beyond that element-based approach and get into the questions that people have when they visit your website or your landing page. So to summarize that, instead of elements, focus on the questions that your landing page answers for the visitor. So that begs the question, what are the questions? Here they are. There's 7 questions. There's the clarity question, the relevance question, the affinity question, the influence question, the trust question, the advantage question, and the action question. Now, this is a lot to cover. I've given workshops that have taken an entire day just on these 7 questions. So this is obviously not something that we can cover in detail in the next 15 minutes. But what I want to do is I want to quickly cover just the first 3. And then I'm going to share a free resource that you can get that I've created where you can read about and learn about all of the other 4, so that you'll have all of the information you need to understand all of the 7 questions that go into a high converting landing page. But let's start with the first 3: clarity, relevance, and affinity. So the clarity question. The way you want to think about this is that when someone visits your landing page, they're going to make a split-second decision, and they're going to be thinking to themselves, usually subconsciously, do I quickly understand the big idea? That's the clarity question. Do I quickly understand what's going on here? What's the big idea? Am I in the right place? Is this clear to me? Do I have a sense of clarity? So that's the clarity question. And the best way to really exemplify this is to show, in my opinion, a bad example. So this is an e-commerce page. Let's say you landed on this site or this page and you tried to figure out what are they selling? What is this about? Right? I see there's a bunch of links above the fold. I see the name of the company. I see the banner says something about shop summer savings, don't miss out, shop deals. There's a cookie banner. It's pretty overwhelming. I don't get a good sense of clarity for why should I be here? What's the value that this is going to provide? So if we were to juxtapose that with a good example, in my opinion, let's check out Lemonade. This is an insurance company. And you would know that right away just by reading the headline. It says, forget everything you know about insurance. And the subheadline says, instant everything, incredible prices, big heart, check our prices. So right away, you know it's about insurance. It's not overwhelming. So if you're looking for insurance, then you have that sense of clarity that, yes, I'm in the right place. And you know what you need to do next. You need to check the prices. They're not trying to do too much. So hopefully that's a good side-by-side comparison of an example of the clarity question being answered successfully, as well as the previous example of it not being answered successfully. So hopefully that's useful so far. I see Mate has shared the resource in the chat for where you can get access to my free framework, the 7-question landing page framework that answers all of the information on all 7 questions. So you can check that out. And with that, let's roll into the second of the 7 questions, and this is the relevance question. And the way you want to think about this one is, how can it specifically help me? So that's what the visitor is going to be thinking after they have that sense of clarity on the page. They're going to wonder, well, what's in it for me? You may have heard that expression, WIIFM. Some marketers refer to it as WIFM. I've heard people call it everyone's favorite radio station because it ends with FM, but it's what's in it for me. Right? We're all on this webinar, not because we just want to waste some time and listen to me talk all day. We're here because we want to take some value out of it that we can then implement in our business or for our company. And so you always want to keep that in mind with everything you do as a marketer. You want to figure out what's in it for the visitor and how can you convey that? And so that's really why the relevance question is super critical. If you nail all the other ones, but you don't have the relevance question covered, it's going to fall flat. So here's another example. This is a CPA firm. I blurred out the logo. This is a real company from, I believe they're in Florida, here in Florida when I was looking for some examples. And they're probably an amazing CPA firm. But the thing about it is when you look at the copy on this page, if we were to highlight certain parts of it, you're going to start noticing something interesting. So if you just read the text that I've highlighted in the red boxes, you see at the top it says about us. And then below it says we manage. Then it says we are. Then it says our services. And if you go through the whole page, it's very similar to this. And I see this all the time on websites. And I've been guilty of it many times. The problem is this page is talking too much about themselves, about the company, and not enough about what the company can do for the visitor. So a very quick, very actionable takeaway that you can do today is look at all your landing page copy, look at your homepage copy, and try to remove the phrases that talk about you and your company and try to reposition it. So it's not about you, it's about the value that you deliver. Now, usually you want to look for words like we and our and us and about us and things like that. And you want to try to change the angle for how that copy is written. It's not always possible to remove all of it, but if you just have this type of mindset when you're reviewing your copy, it's going to really help you. Okay. Let's look at a good example. So this is Ahrefs. This is an SEO software company. And if you just read the headline, you're going to see how they answer the relevance question right away, because the headline says everything you need to rank higher and get more traffic. So if I'm looking for something related to SEO and I want to get better results with my SEO, and I read that headline, I immediately see how they're going to be helping me. It's as simple as that. They're answering the relevance question with a very direct headline that mentions what the visitor is going to get. Okay, let's move on to the third question. This is the affinity question. And the way to think about this one is the visitor is thinking to themselves, do I like it? Now, of all the 7 questions that you need to answer throughout your landing page, I would say the affinity question is the one that is the most subconscious, meaning that people are not intentionally thinking about it as they're visiting your page. They're making a split-second decision of whether they like it or not. Just like when you logged onto this webinar, you probably made a split-second decision if you're going to like it or not. Or if you visited any website ever, you make a split-second decision of, yeah, this looks like something I would like, or it looks like something that's totally not for me. And that's what I'm getting at when I mentioned the affinity question. So it's a very quick, intuitive decision that the visitor is making. To back this up, I want to share 2 stats. The first one is that 48% of people cite website design as the number 1 factor in deciding whether or not an online business is credible or not. And 94% of people claim that web design is the reason they've rejected a website, regardless of what is being offered. So this question is tied very much to credibility and design. And so here's an example of a real page that we designed or redesigned for a client. Again, we blurred out the logo. On the left is the old page. On the right is the new page. We went into this with the approach that we just wanted to improve the affinity question and the way that people respond to the sense that they get when they visit the page. So we were changing a lot of different things. Technically, this would be called a radical redesign because we weren't changing just one thing. And by adding the images of people, by changing it so that it doesn't talk so much about the discount and look like a coupon right away, by simplifying the colors, by giving a little bit more white space, we were able to achieve a 47% conversion lift for the client. So that's just one example of how you might want to reimagine your landing page designs to try to appeal to that sense of affinity. And the best way to do this is to talk to users and to do some redesigns and to see what works. And so here are some specific areas that you might want to target when you're trying to improve the affinity of your landing page. You want to make sure it loads quickly. You want to make sure that there's not a bunch of annoying pop-ups or notifications. Make sure it's readable. A simple thing you could do is make sure that on a mobile device, people can read the text. I can't tell you how many times I've visited a site and you can barely see the text. So bump up the font size. Make sure things are easy to engage with. If there's a form, it needs to be easy to use. Make sure the tone of voice throughout the page doesn't change and that it's the proper tone of voice. If it's professional or casual, whatever, it needs to be consistent and it needs to be what your visitors expect. Make sure everything is secure with your page, not only in the sense that you are using things like SSL and you have that little lock symbol at the top, but just that there's a sense of security with the company and you have trust logos and things like that to create that sense of security. And again, make sure you're paying attention to the overall design of the page. So hopefully you can walk away with some ideas for how you can implement these things to boost that affinity score on your landing pages. So that in a nutshell is the first 3 of the 7 questions in the 7-question landing page framework. Of course, like I said, we could talk about any one of these all day. I've done workshops on each of these questions that have gone over an hour on each question. And like I said, I've done workshops for the entire day where we go through all of them with a bunch of examples. But in the interest of time, I just wanted to give you a sort of a taste of the first 3 and then give you a free resource for where you can read about the others. So you can go to earnworthy.com/framework or scan the QR code and you can download it. One disclaimer, to get the guide, you also have the option to opt into my newsletter. It's a free newsletter where I'm sharing growth marketing tips and you can opt out at any time. So in case anyone had questions about that, you're not being sold anything. It's my weekly newsletter. We have about 6,000 subscribers. Just sent out an edition today. And it's always going to be something that I try to give value first. Okay, so the takeaway from the second secret that we covered is that instead of focusing on the elements of a landing page, you should focus on the questions that you need to answer for your visitor. And with that, we're going to go into the third and final secret that I want to cover. And that is that if you want to improve your landing pages, you must gather feedback and run tests. And to give you some context about this one, let's talk about something that I call the how about we method. So the how about we method, it might sound weird, but I'm sure we've all experienced it where we're trying to optimize a landing page or we're trying to talk to our boss or our coworker about something. and they go, how about we change the button color? Or how about we change the headline to whatever, right? And it's just based on someone's opinion, and it's not based on the data. And so I call that the how about we method. And I recommend that you avoid it. Do not try to get influenced by the how about we method. Instead, you want to be data driven in what you're doing. And so the most common way to be data driven and to test is through A/B testing. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here because everyone always talks about A/B testing. I want to give you some other ideas for testing outside of A/B testing. But just as a quick overview of A/B testing, that's where you would say, let's say we have two versions of a page. Maybe we change one thing on each. In this case, the only thing that's changed is the text on the CTA button. It says check our prices on the left. It says get in touch on the right. You would then split the traffic 50-50 with the same traffic source. You'd let it run. You'd achieve statistical significance, hopefully after a while, and you would see if there's a conversion lift on the new variant. That would be a simple explanation of how A/B testing works. But again, everyone's doing that. And I want to give you some other ideas. So there's two other ways that you can test a landing page. One would be functional testing, and one would be usability testing. So with functional testing, all you're trying to do is answer the question of, does this page work properly? And I've been guilty of this many times where I've launched a page and I'm like, why is it not converting? Do I need to change the headline? And no, it was something silly, like it wasn't optimized properly for a mobile device, or the form didn't work, or I had a click-to-call phone number on there that didn't actually dial the correct number. So you want to make sure that your pages actually work. And the three areas of functional testing that you want to focus on is interaction, speed, and display. So interaction is, can people interact with the different elements on the page, like the forms, the buttons, things like that. Speed means, does it load quickly? There's a lot that we can get into there, but there's testing tools online where you can determine if your page is loading fast. And then display just refers to the fact that people are going to be viewing the page on mobile devices, desktop devices, different browsers, different, PC versus Mac, and you want to make sure that it displays properly across the board. And then when it comes to usability testing, the question you're trying to answer here is, can the user do what they need to do easily and efficiently? So it's like one level deeper than just functional testing. This is where you need to get some feedback from real users. And here are some tools that I like to use to get this type of feedback. These are tools for both functional testing and usability testing. So webpagetest.org is a good place to run a quick speed test on your website or landing page. Usability Hub is where you can run a very quick test with real users. My favorite test to run is called the 5-second test. And then Microsoft Clarity is like a heat mapping, session recording, click mapping tool that's free, and it's backed by Microsoft. So it's sort of like the visual equivalent of Google Analytics. And a lot of people don't talk about it that much, but I think it's a very powerful tool to check out. So if you walk away with just one tool recommendation to check out, I would check out clarity.microsoft.com. Okay, so the takeaway here is that you shouldn't just assume that you'll know what you need to change in order to improve a landing page. Instead, you should gather data, get feedback, and run tests. So those were the main points I want to cover. Let's just recap real quickly. Then I'm going to turn it over to Pedro, and he's going to cover some of the new features launching from GetResponse, specifically around landing pages. So to recap, the first secret was you want to start by knowing the true purpose of a landing page. This is where we broke down that definition of what a landing page is. The second point was that the highest converting landing pages focus on answering the questions visitors may have. I wanted to get you thinking one level deeper than just those elements and think about the questions that people have psychologically as they're visiting and thinking, what are they going to do? And then the third one was that if you want to improve your landing pages, you need to gather feedback and run tests. And you can do more than just A/B testing. You can deploy functional testing and usability testing. So with that, once again, you could check out my 7-question landing page framework at earnworthy.com/framework. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me at Nicholas the Marketer on Threads, TikTok. I saw somebody say no Threads. Okay, so I won't mention Threads anymore, or YouTube, or you can email me at nicholas@earnworthy.com. And with that, I am going to thank everyone for the time and for being here. And I'm going to turn it back over to Pedro, and he's going to cover some really exciting features.
Thank you, Nicholas. And it was a pleasure to actually listen to your tips. And thank you very much for joining us. And I'm sure our audience really appreciate too. And without further ado, I will start sharing my screen because I really want to share this with you and what we have been doing at GetResponse. And first of all, folks, just let me know if you can see my screen well. Everything okay? All right. So what I want to show you first is to address one of the questions, which was about the privacy policy. Just a quick one before we get really into it. So when you are in GetResponse, right, and you go to Tools, you have Files and Images. And as the name suggests, you can upload your files here and all your images. As you can see, I have a multitude of them here. And you can just add your file. And this would be your privacy policy, for example, as you just asked. And each file then has a URL, right? So you would just copy and then add this URL to a button or to text in general. And well, with that covered, then you would be able to do that in the landing pages that I will just show to you. And folks, so I'm Pedro. I'm a product marketing manager here at GetResponse. And if you have been around for a while, you probably have seen me in some of the videos. Anything related to product, you probably have seen me around. And I'm really now really keen to show you what we have just released. And what we did was a total redesign of our landing pages, and you will be able to find them right here. So Tools, Landing Pages, and this has two things over here, right? One of them is the whole editor was actually changed. So it has a much better design, very clean. And also we introduced AI powered landing pages. So I will show you both. Let's start with the template from here. So we just go to create landing page. And then we go to, well, as you can see, both options. So use a ready-made template, or we can go with AI-powered builder. Let's start with a ready-made template. And first thing to notice is that you can select here your industry. And by industry, you'll then be able to find what you're looking for, right? Like there are many things going on over here. And these templates are actually curated by our designers, in-house designers in GetResponse. And following the advice from Nick, you'll actually see that many of the landing pages actually have what it requires to have a good landing page. Of course, as these are just templates, you will still have to adapt to your own scenario and your product, because what comes here is also providing value, right? And let's assume now that you are sharing an ebook with people, or you actually wrote a book, because many people have ebooks to share. It could be even a PDF with something that you are sharing. For example, this framework that Nicholas is sharing with you, this could also be a landing page. So if you have something similar that you want to share with people and you think you are providing value, so you could build a landing page around that too. So as an example, we can actually use a template or preview here, and we will go straight to use a template. And you will see that this is actually very easy to use. And straight away, from this template. So you have your logo, you could straight away come here and simply replace this logo, right? And I can even show you something quickly, because if we go here, we can go to the GIFs part. And for example, if you have, let's say, book sticker. So if you are selling a book, you are not really sure if you have a logo. So you are really getting started here. So can come here, anything with a sticker, if you write this word at the end when you are searching, will give you something without a background, right? So you can already use that as something that you will see, and well, can just make your page a bit better. But in general, if you have a logo, that would be the ideal. But first, we are providing already value here, right? As a template. So add your title here already, subtitle, supporting statement, and download now. So this is ideal for ebooks. If you want to share your ebook, you would do it here already, and simply by clicking the button. And I will be addressing buttons and text as elements or blocks. So once you click any of them, you will see that the settings can be found on the right? So anything from the font color. So if I select everything and change over here, see that it changes as well. And one of the most important things here is that you can go to elements and drag and drop. For example, if we wanted an image right here. So we just drag and drop, and this is how it would be. So we have Unsplash images here that you can use for free, and also free GetResponse images that are powered by Shutterstock. So they are more than 2 million. You can pick anything over here, and you would be start adding these images to your website if you actually don't own any, right? And you will be able to find them. So something else to mention is that you can even add a gallery. So the same situation. So for you to see that this is a drag and drop editor and even timer. If you are running a webinar too, you also have the sign up form. And as I mentioned, when you click a block, then you will see that on the right, you will have the settings for this block, right? So it becomes very easy to actually go with this, and you can drag and add this everywhere, right? So if this was a limited time download, we would add a timer right here, for example. Just an example for you to see how easy it's actually to navigate. And this page is actually already kind of ready to use, right? The main action is at the top to download, and you could already use this scenario and just make a few tweaks on the changes. Now, something exciting that I want to share with you is that on the right, you have manage pages. And as this is a landing page, and Nicholas explained very well the differences here, but then any landing page should lead you somewhere, right? So in this case, we want people to download, and to download, they would be taken down to this form. And once they fill the form, then they would be delivered the ebook, just in this example, right? So the thank you page, what we would see over here, we would then hyperlink this to our ebook, right? So, and people would be able to download with just the example I provided, right? If you just upload to files and images, you would see that then when they click, they will be able to see your PDF or any kind of file that you have, right? That's the first scenario, how you can navigate through the pages here. And let's not mix this with a website or anything. It's just, this is where people would go once they subscribe. And of course, you can always change that. But the first thing here is that make sure that you have an action in mind for people to do. In this case, would be download. And then you would have a form too, which is very important to start building your list, right? That's one of the most important things too. Now on the editor too, you will notice that we have a global design. And as the name mentions here, it will change everything across this page, right? So on the language side, this refers more to non-editable elements. So this would be some errors and some other things like the label in the timer that would change by the language. So if you are actually addressing a Portuguese public and you have a Portuguese website, you would actually choose Portuguese here. It won't change the text that you can change. It will only change the things that are static from the website itself. So non-editable elements. But the most exciting part here is that you can change the background colors, right, across the whole page. Like in general, you could do something like that, and it would change across the page, the whole background, right? And if you want to go back, you can just reset the palette over here. And if you hover your cursor, you will even see what it will change, right? And this will apply to everything around the website. Also, you can click on the typography, how it would look, and you will see that this would then change across the page too. And look at that, how the buttons behave in general. So download now over here, download now, and also this one changed the style, right? So let's go to solid. And you have many more settings. Now you already know that this is a drag and drop. And another thing to mention is that, of course, you can integrate this with your store if you have an outside store and if you are selling a product, for example, and you would just drag this block over here, and this would then ask you to select a store. So I already have mine connected, and my Shopify store is over here, right? And then I can add my own products. So for this specific test that I had in my store, they're actually beauty products, and you can then select how you want to display them, right? So let's do something like that and 2 columns. So that's what it would look like. So if you have many books that you are selling, for example, if you are providing one for free, and then you have 2 other books that you released or 2 ebooks, you could even sell them through here, and then people would be able to purchase. So that's one of the examples that I have for you. And then, as Nicholas mentioned too, testing is the whole thing as well. It's a big part of having a landing page. You have to test. So here you could preview in GR how it would look in general, right? So that would be the page, and you would be able to click on the buttons with this scenario. And you can also see how it looks on mobile, right? And on mobile, it's interesting because you can make these changes, and these changes won't affect the desktop version. So this is a big improvement for us in GetResponse. And also, you don't really want one version to disrupt the other, right? So in general, this is what you want to see and how a landing page should be, right? And now I want to quickly address one example here. So let's imagine that you actually only want people to subscribe and you want to be a bit more obvious about it, right? So instead of clicking this button, we would straight up have a form over here. And while we are at it, let me just explain that you will see contact and sign up. And well, sign up form will simply add people to your list, which is what you want to grow your list, right? And contact form will allow people to actually send a message to you, not exactly to add them to your list, right? So they won't join your list, you will just receive a message from them. So we want a sign-up form, right? So that would be it, and we would delete this part. So this way you would already have this part above the fold, and it might increase your chances even of success over here. And as you can see, we can even make this like that. And of course, if you click on the form, there are more parts here that you can add more settings, right? And you can add, for example, I had an example here with coffee types. If you had something about coffee, and people can choose, and then in GetResponse you will be able to filter them and segment them by these two options or three options that we have over here. And well, folks, so then you would just continue, and it would be very simple to go ahead and publish. And now we would be taken to this part over here. And this is also important, the autoresponder. So we mainly use that for welcome messages, for nurturing cycle, that you can even deliver the whole course to people with autoresponder. So day 0, and then we would configure. But let's not really address that right now. And to publish the website, you will simply go to continue, and you will then select your domain. And for example, let's say that the name would be ebook, and then we are using a free GetResponse domain, and we would just publish. Of course, you can connect yours, or you can purchase even one with us if you have a credit card attached to your account. And well, that would be published, and now I will quickly show you how that would look like. All right, so it's taken just for the sake of testing for us. Let's just do ebook 1, 2, 3, and now we can ourselves access the page. Just for you to see how it will go. All right, so that's how it would be, and then we could sign up over here and just go forward. All right, now let's cut to the chase and let's see what AI can generate for us, right? So let's go ahead to create a landing page and use an AI builder. All right, so what we will do over here, so we will be in books and literature as an example. So just to follow our example here and to describe your product or service. So here you need to provide your value, right? What are you doing? What do you want the AI to highlight in the text? And what do you want your audience to know? So for example, so I'm a writer, and I'm selling my newest book named, for example, Space Odyssey. This is targeted to those interested in space, the universe, and time travel, for example. That's just an example here, and then you can separate by comma different ideas. I will send excerpts of the book to my newsletter subscribers as a preview. So this is just an example that you can use. This will apply to all the businesses that you can imagine, right? If you are running a beauty shop too, you can do that. It's just one of the scenarios. And then we would just go next step over here, and it will take us to the recommendations. And as you can see, contact form and sign up. To be fair, I don't really want a contact form here. We would go to list, sign up form, testimonial sounds good. Gallery, cookie banner we can do. And you can even add a chat, right? If you would like that. Although for this scenario, it won't be our main thing. So we will remove it. And let's go to the next step. All right, add some color to your page. So we have some color schemes over here. I would actually like to go with this. Since we are talking about space and so on, you can go with that. And you can also upload your logo. and this will take the color scheme from your logo. So this can be very useful too, or you can provide your page. So let's imagine you already have a website and you are building this landing page for a specific product that you want to advertise. So you could already take the color scheme from your website here, and that could be super useful too and speed up the process. So let's select Teddy and next step. Right, so this is your business details. Over here you can just change. And let's go over that. And now the AI is just generating 3 options for you. You will see that you'll be able to preview the 3. You will see that the copy is based on what we wrote, well, what we gave to the AI. And this is mainly for those of you who need to get started, right? So even if you are not a beginner, of course, if you need some copy delivered to you very quickly, you can just use this tool. It's a way to get started, get you off the ground, and already get some engaging copy. And let's see what this does. All right, so we have this option here on the left. We have the one in the middle and one in the right. So you don't have to really pick one at this moment. You have to pick one, of course, but we could even do a full screen preview. But just for example's sake, let's just use this design and see how it goes. And well, I will show you like the first things that I would do over here, just to mention, right? And for example, I already think this is too much space here at the top, and people should see actually this thing right away. And let's actually delete this button and go over here. We can just drag this one and right. So we want people to subscribe, embark on a journey. Epic journey through space and time. Still not obvious. Latest ebook. Get the latest ebook. Ebook. Excerpts. For example, then you would have the sign up form over here, and this we would get rid of. But as you can see, I want to show you the text, right? Be the first to receive exclusive excerpts from our captivating book, Space Odyssey. So it picked the name that we gave to the book. Then you would have some data here. It's always good to share statistics if you have. So it would be very good for you as well. And then this would be the review that we selected that we wanted. It's not in the best format, but we could just add a picture next to it, and this would be a review that you would have. So this is mainly for your inspiration. And something that we could do too is to go here and just replace this to a different image, right? So we can go to even Unsplash, you can write space, and you will see that we will have something that would fit better our scenario. We can even use that, right? Milky Way. And we can make the background kind of translucent as it is right here. So it's just changing at this moment. But in general, you can see that this is one of the great ways to get started with a website. And even the font, the Mono would fit the space theme in general. What I don't like would be the button color. So we should make it a bit more visible over here. So let's change that to white even. Right, so now people can see it a bit better, and when they hover, it would be a different color. And something else to mention is when you go across the website, you can see that there's a lot of space over here, but we can just drag this and pull it up. All right, and even get rid of that so that people, when they land on your page, this is what they would see straight away. And of course, you would adjust this copy depending on what the goal would be, right? And in this case, we would want them to sign up and they would receive our ebook. And well, now you know how this works and how AI can actually help you get started with your project, with your new landing page, advertising your products. And another use case that I will show you right now that you can use as we do, right? So the best examples are the ones we use ourselves. And in GR, we mainly use landing pages. So you already saw that part, so we won't go over it again, but let's just click publish to go forward. The main use cases here and the best ones to share are actually the ones that we use ourselves too. So let's give an example of something that we could use as SGR. So for this webinar, you signed up through a landing page made in this editor, right? And another thing that you can do if you're running a webinar like us, or even a masterclass or of anything, so any sort, you can do something like that. And that was just from a template, right? I just added this sign up form, and then you could add your scenario over here and add the speakers. So I did that too. And as you can see, it's a perfectly fine page and decent with a proper goal here on what you want people to do. And that's how you could use GetResponse and leverage your knowledge to teach others, to sell your product, or, well, to just get started, right? And something that I didn't mention here, but let me show you quickly on a different landing page, because it might be important for some of you, and maybe I'm addressing some question already, but let's see. Because when you go to manage pages, you can go to settings, right? And in the settings, this is where you will do a little bit of SEO, right? You provide page title and page description. So this is one of the main things. And also when you share on social media, you can also pick an image that would appear as the thumbnail of your website, right? And, well, some code to add. And in general, folks, that's it in terms of what we have to offer in landing pages. And as you can see, drag and drop, very easy to use. And if you follow Nick's advice, you can get a pretty decent landing page in no time. And, well, with that said, let me stop sharing my screen. And I would say that we can jump to questions, Mate. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And thank you very much, Pedro, for this presentation. And I just wanted to second that what you said about the AI making our job so much easier, is that I actually used our AI-powered landing page creator for creating the landing page for this very webinar. And the whole process would usually take me like 1.5 hours. Now I was done with it in like 15-20 minutes. So yeah, I can surely say that this is something that we are at GetResponse are also using ourselves. We have a lot of questions actually, so let me just turn on the Q&A mode. And let's see, let's start with a question to Nicholas. Michael asked if you mentioned that you use a lot of different elements on your landing page. How do you make sure that it won't affect like loading times?
Yeah, Mate, that's a great question. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is running a speed test using something like webpagetest.org. Another good one is gtmetrics.com. It's metrics with an X at the end. There's a lot of speed testing tools, but those are the two that I typically use most often. And like the one thing that I would avoid doing is assuming that a page is loading fast or slow based on your own like test of like typing it in. We have clients all the time that'll say, hey, I tried loading the page and it's not working. And it just happens to be it's their connection or their device. So you want to do a more objective test. And so the first thing is you want to get that baseline by using a tool like webpagetest.org or gtmetrics.com. One thing I will caution you about is that there's also official tools from Google called Page Speed Insights. Those, in my opinion, they just feel often unreliable, and it'll often make a page look a lot worse from a speed perspective. So I like some of these other third-party tools a little bit better. And then the tool itself will tell you, to answer your question specifically, it'll tell you what elements are causing the issues. And what I find is that it's typically not like a visual element on the page that's causing the issue, but it's like some JavaScript in the background or something that the page is trying to capture on the back end, or it's an issue with caching. So caching is where the page is getting basically saved so that it doesn't have to load everything every time, or maybe the There's usually issues with what's called a CDN or a content delivery network. The cool thing is that if you're on a platform like GetResponse, a lot of that is already taken care of because they're using those best practices in the background, like caching and like a CDN and all those best practices for how to load JavaScript. So a lot of times just by using a cutting edge platform like GetResponse, you're going to avoid a lot of these issues. But hopefully that gives you some other places to start when it comes to speed testing.
Thank you, Nicholas. And the other question is for Pedro. We have Michael asking about using CTA buttons to call a phone number. Is this a feature that we currently have?
Well, the thing is, to call a phone number, it actually has to use a platform, right? So let's say you want a phone number, and then, well, it would probably connect to WhatsApp or something like that. But the answer is, first is yes, but as you asked how, basically on the landing page, when you click on a button, so what I showed you, when you click any element in general, on the right, you would be able to select actually what you want to link to. And it can be dynamic links, can be phone number, can be many things. So if you add a phone number there, what it will do is it will try to find an app. It will try to open an app like WhatsApp, or it will try to open even Skype if it's still around, right? Something that can use this phone number and call. So that would be the main thing on how you would be able to do. But basically, and you would enter the landing page, and you would click the button, and on the right you will see this option. It's actually there.
Great, thank you. We actually have a couple of questions regarding the availability of the AI landing page builder.
All right.
So basically, the main questions that I'm seeing in chat is what are the plans in which this feature is available, and is it available retroactively or for existing landing pages, or if someone wants to use this feature, they have to create a new one?
All right. So the question is, it's available for every plan. So that's the main answer. Everyone will be able to use. And if you create an account right now, a free trial, any free trial and GetResponse for the first 30 days that you have, you will be able to use the AI. You have 3 tries, so you can generate, well, it would be 9 landing pages because the AI each time generates 3 and you pick one, right? So in general, you get 9 to pick from, and you can have 3. That's the final case. You only don't have access to the AI if you are on a freemium account. And what we call freemium is basically after your 30 days trial, your account just becomes free, right? So you can keep it for a long time, and AI is just blocked on those accounts. But any paid account or free trial you will be able to use. So no real. The only limitation for free trials is the 3 times that you can generate. But for paid accounts, there is no limitation at this moment.
Great. Nicholas, I have a question for you. Actually, chat has a question for you. A lot of people love your segment, and they want to get some consultation from you. Is this something that you offer currently?
Yeah, so we're a small agency, and so right now we're not taking on full new engagements. But if anyone has a quick question or wants a quick landing page review, I do landing page reviews all the time. I do paid ones and I do free ones. And so if anyone wants to email me with a landing page, just give me a little bit of time because I do get a lot of requests. But I can create a quick Loom video and shoot you back a 2-minute video with some ideas. So you could just email me at nicholas@earnworthy.com. And in terms of our agency, we're super busy right now, so we're trying to scale up as best we can. So we can't take on full engagements, but I certainly don't want to turn anyone away who has questions or just wants some quick, easy, free feedback on their landing page. So feel free to email me at nicholas@earnworthy.com.
Great, thank you. And I think we have time for one last question, and I would actually love to answer this particular one. So Dixon was asking about how ChatGPT works, and if we have figured out a way to bypass this issue that ChatGPT's training only goes up to 2021. And the answer to that is that no, because we are using the same technology that ChatGPT is using. So GetResponse and all of the tools using the GPT technology are bound by what GPT has been trained on. And GPT has only been trained on information until 2021. But you need to understand that this is generative AI. So ChatGPT is better at creating like copies and like creative stuff than like giving you actually factually correct information. So and for this reason, this is ChatGPT is great for or GPT technology in general is great for creating landing page copy, but it's not necessarily great for using it as a tool to get 100% factually accurate information at the moment. And I think this concludes our webinar. We have recorded the entire event, so if someone only joined us late, don't worry, we will send it to you by Monday. And we actually have two last announcements. If you enjoyed the presentation, then you can subscribe to Nicholas's newsletter at earnworthy.com/weekly. You can just type it to your browser, and Nicholas's newsletter is completely free. You will receive it weekly, and it's filled with a lot of great information on marketing. And we actually just launched our summer sale campaign. So if you are quick, then you can grab a discount for up to 40% on GetResponse plans. So this is only valid for the first 1,000 people who sign up.
Exactly.
So you need to be fast and you need to be quick. But currently we still have a lot of available discount slots, so you can grab it by going to getresponse.com/pricing or by just clicking on the CTA at the end of the top of the screen. So
and Mate, actually, before you conclude, I saw a few questions about this. Just a quick thing. If you are already an existing customer of GetResponse, and some people mentioned they could not find the pages, most likely you are seeing our legacy pages, and once you click landing pages, you will see a different tab with landing pages new. And this is where you can already start using our new landing pages. And another thing is, if you are an existing customer, the discount also applies to you. Meaning that if you are logged in on your account or you are not, just go to the upgrade part, so you can go to your billing, and you will see a URL to actually see our plans, and you will see that discount is already there. So you don't have to write any specific code or anything; it will be already embedded. And well, folks, it's a limited time discount, so yeah, chop chop.